Scott Erlin back with Coach Schertz for part 2 of the 2014-15 men's basketball preview, and we're going to talk about a little bit about the national polls. Obviously, already the preseason Division II men's bulletin poll is coming out, and we are 25th in that poll. Do you feel like that's just kind of give an assessment of, that ranking?
Well, I'm glad they haven't watched us practice, so they might feel differently about our ranking. But I don't. It's always nice to be recognized, I guess. In the sense that it's nice to have that recognition. But I don't know where we would sit nationally, and I know the Division II bulletin probably doesn't know where we sit nationally. It's just kind of based on thrown together based on history and who we lose and all that kind of stuff. But from our guys' standpoint, I don't think it's never something we actually haven't even I would bet to say our guys don't even know we're nationally ranked or whatever the case may be, and it's not something that we focus on. There's I think at times people say, well, if you're nationally ranked or you're picked to win this or there's expectations. I'm more concerned about what the expectations are, inside of the locker room. How are we gonna prepare? How are we gonna practice? How are we gonna perform between the lines? Because anything of significance is going to be earned between the lines. Whoever hoists that trophy, whoever wins the conference, whoever's the last team standing is going to have to go and earn it between the lines over a 4-month window, and is going to be an unbelievably good team because the league is so strong. And I think there's a school of thought, and I don't necessarily buy into it, but that, if you're ranked or you're picked high or whatever, then that creates, a bullseye, and then you're going to get everybody's best shot. Well, I don't really know. To me, most teams show up ready to play every game anyway. And from our standpoint, I'm not so worried about, the other team and their best shot or whatever, because we can't control that. What we can control is, and what I worry about is, are we giving them our best shot? Their best shot, great. Are we giving them our best shot? Are we doing everything we can to prepare to play the best we can? Are we going out and having high-level practices? And are we getting in between the lines and performing at a level so we have a chance to earn and play for some special things? And so, I think guys can get caught up in that stuff. But you've been here long enough. We don't, talk about, streaks or strings or records or, any of that stuff. We've always had one goal, and that's to be the best team we can be. And hopefully, that's good enough to win a championship. Some years it will be, some years it won't be. But at the end of the day, that's what we can control. Try to be the best team that we're capable of becoming, and that'll be our focus this year. And so I don't think the guys get too caught up in where we're ranked or where we're not ranked. And we could have an entire show on the national poll and the absurdity of that, in my opinion. At this level, it's obviously. I think there's a lot of biases and things like that in there, but what's not biased, and the thing I love about competitive sports is, it doesn't matter when you get between the lines. It's a completely unbiased deal. It's who plays better in that 2-hour window over in between the lines. So we'll worry about that and focus on our preparation and how we practice, and hopefully see how we stack up come November.
And you had mentioned that nobody in that locker room or nobody in here thinks about those rankings, but one thing that almost everyone knows at this point is how long our NABC top 25 streak has been. It's the 9th longest streak last time I checked in the history of the poll. And we assume those preseason rankings haven't come out yet, but we assume that we're going to be in those preseason rankings. Is there any pressure? Do you feel any pressure, whether in any form, to continue that streak in any way?
I don't. I would say from my standpoint, I probably have. I certainly know that how long it's been and those things. It's not something we discuss with our guys. I don't think they would know. And that streak or string has been accomplished by teams over the last 4 years that have gone 106-18 and have played at an unbelievably high level, been unbelievably disciplined and consistent. And the one thing we value is consistent high-level performance. And over a 4-year window, we've given that. That being said, with competitive sports, it's totally unbiased, and what we did is in the past. That 58 weeks in a row is in the past. And what matters now is is this team and what's the competitiveness and character of this group, and how is this group going to go out and prepare itself, how's this group, what their practice habits going to be, how are they going to perform when the lights come on between the lines, are they going to have the discipline to execute and be consistent in their approach and all those things, and that has to be laid out. But the one thing I'll say is, and that's going to, the answers will come, but the one thing I would say on the streak is that I think there's a value to it because it shows consistency, and that's something that as a program we really value, is consistent high level performance, and our guys really over the last 4 years have kind of shown up and played and competed, and there's been a lot of really good players that have built that, but at some point it'll come to an end. I hope not for a long time, but it will, and I wouldn't lose any sleep over it. I would toast that it was that long, and then certainly move on to the next thing, which is this team, if it is ranked or whatever, it knows it hasn't done anything yet. It'll be ranked based on the previous teams historically. We know that we have significant questions to answer, and we'll get into that I'm sure later on, but we know we have significant questions, and if this team is ranked, the 14-15 team in the preseason, which we expect it will, then that's based on what's happened in the past. This group has got to go out, create its own identity, figure out what it wants to be. This group has got to answer those questions in terms of again how it prepares, how it practices, and how it performs and executes when the lights come on. So like I said, we'll see when November comes. You get to see kind of how you stack up, and it's a 4-month marathon, and it's it's a lot of fun. But I don't think the guy. I would venture to say I'd bet not 2 guys in that locker room could tell you how long the streak is, because it's just something that we've never mentioned. We've never said hey, if we lose this game, we're going to follow the polls, or this is where we are in the polls, or we could be this, or whatever the case may be. We've been number 1, we've been number 25, we've been a lot of things in between in the national polls, and what we've always focused on is trying to play well, and we believe if we come out and we play well, that we're going to have a chance to have success. But that's really where our whole focus has been, and hopefully it's something that they don't feel that pressure. They feel a pressure and a responsibility to the group to perform, the group in that locker room, but not a pressure to perform based on a ranking or what somebody else thinks, or what some 16 guys in some room vote on. I hope they feel a responsibility and a pressure towards their teammates to perform at the highest level possible.
All right, thanks, Coach. That's part 2 of our 2014 men's basketball preview. We'll be back tomorrow with part 3.
Sounds great.